All right, this is the advanced setup for microphones if you're going to be using an interface. And I call it advanced simply because it requires a little more information than just plugging in your microphone to your computer and being done. So let's begin by taking a look at, let's just take the Shure SM58. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take one end, which is the receiving end. We're going to plug it in like so. Then we're going to take the other end. I'm going to take that right into the, there we go. Excellent. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you my setup, actually, so that you can see. My setup consists of a lapel mic that is right there, and the cable runs down my shirt, and it's plugged in. And depending on your interface, what you're going to want to work on, if I can get this so it's not shining, is the level of sound that comes through your microphone. That can be adjusted with knobs, like so, and get it just right. And when you're ready, usually it's a USB cable that goes from the interface into your computer, and then from there, you're good to go. Now, I want to switch back to this view so that you can see what else you may need. Okay, so let's grab a pop filter. Pop filter is going to go in like so. You're going to put it on your table, adjust it to right in front of your mouth so that when you talk, you're talking into the pop filter. Microphone's going to go on a stand of some sort, so you're going to have to get a stand. And you're going to put the microphone right up close to the pop filter. So you're speaking into the pop filter and the microphone's directly behind it. Instead of talking into the microphone like this, you're talking to the pop filter like this. All of these things will have links in the description provided online. Great. Now let's move over to the computer side, and I'll see you in a sec. Let's go ahead and look at the advanced setup. When plugging your interface into the computer, you're going to hit the Command spacebar, look for Audio MIDI Setup, double click, and you're going to look for your audio device. Mine is called the MixPre 6M, so I click on that. I select Input, and I change everything that I want here. Let's say I have 4 microphones, which I don't, but let's just, for the sake of saying I do, I'm going to go on 4-channel 32-bit. That's the highest that I can go. 32-bit integers simply means it records all information, which is wonderful when you know how to edit. If you don't, then you can choose something smaller. Your output should be the same. You can close and go ahead and open up either Spreaker or whatever software you use. When I open up Spreaker, I'll talk into one microphone, and I'll have channel 1. If I wanted to do the same thing, I could select channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4. The great thing about this is that now you have the capacity of being able to edit everybody's microphone and adjust it just right so that you can hear everyone. When you click on these, it will mute the other ones so that you can listen to just that microphone to make sure it's good to go. Then you can do the same thing for all 4. When you're ready, plug your music in and hit start. It's that simple. However, if you're like me and you've invested quite a bit of money in your interface, you're going to want to get the best volume that you can get out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Adobe's software called Audition and just kind of show you how to set it up. You can do the same thing with Audacity, which is free, or other recording software that you're more comfortable with. In my case, I just happen to enjoy using the Adobe suite. So I'm going to open up the preferences, look for audio hardware, because I have to tell Audition where I want my volume to be coming from. I'm going to go down here to default input, and I'm going to select my MixPre. Your interface may have a different name, so select it. As a default, it lets your speakers be your output, which is fine. Here in the sample rate, I'm going to go ahead and leave it the way it is and hit OK. Now, this can seem very daunting, and it was for me for at least a couple of months until I learned how to use it. But I'm going to go ahead and just walk you through how to set up a multi-track podcast setup, basically. So you go to File, you go to New, Multi-Track Session, type in whatever you want. In this case, I'm going to do Test 2, hit OK. And here are all my layouts. Again, all of this looks very daunting. So let me just walk you through how you would set up and record. On the left-hand side, you have these arrows. When you hover over them, it says Input, Output. This is essential. This is crucial. You can't record without first setting up your inputs. So when I have that set up, or when I click on that, I can now come here and say mono, because I'm using mono channels. Track 1, mono, track 2, and so forth, just like we did with Spreaker. But that's not all. I have to actually activate it and tell it that I'm ready to record. So I'm going to hit R, and only now will I see in real time my audio going up and down. I have to do that for all of these. Now granted, I don't have 4 different channels, so it's not really going to work too well. So I'll leave those alone for now. Let me think. Okay. I believe Audition allows me to also add to this in real time my effects. So I love to utilize some effects with my... Sorry, give me a second. Let me just set this up a little bit. I love to use effects instead of having to come in and customize everything afterward. I'd much rather do it for me while I'm actually speaking. So now that I've got my effects in play, okay, close that out. I can hit record, and I will now record everything that's in my track, everything that's in my guest 1, 2, and 3 tracks, and it will record as 4 to 5 to 6 different channels separately so that I can adjust each one in post-production later on. In this case, I just want to record my voice, so I'm going to hit record, and it's going to go ahead and record my voice, get all that information there. You can see the wavelengths moving up and down as it records, and when I'm done, I basically just come back here and hit the button, either stop or I hit the button record again. I'm going to hit stop. We can come back and hear it. And it's going to go ahead and record my voice, get all that information there. You can see the wavelengths moving up and down as it records. And when I'm done, I basically just come back here and hit the button, either stop or I hit the button record again. I'm going to hit stop. So there you go. I've now created my track. I can apply more things to it if I really wanted to, or I can just take it as it is. Let's say I recorded everybody with their effects and everything. I'm happy with it. I'd come up here to New. I'd say Export, Multi-Track Mixdown, Entire Session. So again, it's Export, Multi-Track Mixdown, Entire Session. Call it what I want to, and make sure I save it to where I want to. I'm going to save it to my desktop. Click OK. Because it was only like 20 seconds, it's already done. So there's my track. Awesome. At this point, I would still need to use Spreaker software to upload it. So I'd open up Spreaker. And instead of recording, because I'm not going to record, I'm going to set up my upload. And if you see here, it says drag or click any upload files. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over here, grab my edited, already good to go podcast and drop it right there. It'll put it at the top of the list, and I can click publish. Here's where I put in all my information. In a different tutorial, I'll show you exactly what all this is. But when I'm done putting all that information in, I hit publish, and my podcast is good to go. It's that simple. So this advanced session is a little more complicated because you're using an interface, you're recording several tracks at once, you're editing, putting in some filters, doing some really cool things, making the audio actually sound really good, and then you're coming into Spreaker and, as a last resort, just sending it up as a podcast. The basic is just plugging in your USB microphone, hitting start, hitting record, and recording yourself and whoever's with you. And whatever's coming out of that USB microphone is what's going to show up on the podcast. And it's perfectly fine because it's the content that matters. But if you want it to sound as, the best quality you can, you're probably going to want to use an interface. In addition to that, you're probably going to want to use a good software like Adobe Audition or Audacity, and there may be others as well, to just add a few filters and bring out the quality of your voice. I think that's it for now. Thanks for watching.